Hello everybody, welcome to Fruitful Trees. We are back at this amazing property. This is homeowner Jerry in Jupiter, Florida. We came back here, this is our third year back here. I'd love to get an update. He's planting high density, in some cases ultra high density. Doesn't seem to bother him or care about how it's going to turn out. As he says, for him itself, it's all an experiment. Well, it's an experiment for us too, to see kind of what works. But like Jerry says, each yard is different, each tree is different, even in the same tree in a different yard. So experiment for where you're at. So we're going to get an update and see what's grown and hear about how his fruit season this year. And remember, what works for him may not work for you, may work for you. If you have the time and you want to experiment, great. If not, stick to the proven tips to growing fruit trees that I mentioned in many of my videos. And also you can combine and do a combination of all. Do the proven tips, and maybe in one area of your yard you can experiment with certain things. All right, so thank you, Jerry. It's great to be out here again. Everybody, here we go. This is Jerry in Jupiter. Okay, everybody, here we are back in Jupiter. This is Jerry. We're back at Jerry's yard. This is the third time we're here. We're going to get an update on his high density garden that he has here. Jerry, how you been?
I've been great.
It's been 2 years since the first time I was here and 1 year since last year. And how's things been growing?
Unbelievable. Everything down here grows phenomenal. It's just, you know, it's hot, it's humid, it's sunny. And even though the soil itself is mostly just sand, everything seems to thrive here in this tropical jungle here.
Well, we're going to look at everything, but is there anything that you were looking at since I've last been here that you said, maybe this isn't the best spot, or...
Well, nothing's in the best spot. There really is no best spot. It depends on what your goal is. My goal is to have a collection. I'm a collector. I enjoy having oddball stuff and rare stuff and 200 different varieties of tropical fruit trees. You know, I don't need a lot of production. And so if I have a couple of rare fruit on a tree, I'm perfectly happy with it. I'm more interested in having the variety, and it's just the fun of trying and the challenge of trying to grow things a little bit out of its zone. Okay. So that's really where I'm at.
Well, let's start off in your front. Let's go straight over there to the front, and we
can actually run the yard from the same direction as we did 2 years ago. So maybe when you get a chance, you can edit some scenes out, and you can see how huge some things have gotten, and other things just kind of stagnate.
We'll see. We got jackfruit here.
It's a J31 jackfruit bought at the Tropical Fruit Rare Fruit Club show, and it's only in the ground about maybe a year. I think this was like 1.5 years ago, maybe. And this tree is, as you can see, growing very fast. It was put in it was less than 3 feet tall.
And you just got mulch in there. There's no water on your trees, right?
No, there's no irrigation out here. I have some hoses I could drag out when the tree is first newly planted, but that's about it as far as watering stuff.
Okay.
Now this little tiny thing was a Maria Black. If you go back at my first video,
oh yes, it was so small.
It was like a shrub, maybe 2 feet tall, and now it's finally picking up.
Any flowers or mangoes?
I had actually mangoes the first year. Avocados out of it the first year when it was about 3 feet tall, but since then it's just been growing, and I'm okay with that.
Now, do you prune them?
I don't touch it.
So between that and that, how far is it?
Probably about 10 feet.
10 feet.
10,
okay.
12 feet.
That's a dwarf avocado and jackfruit.
This is a dwarf avocado, and this is a jack, which should just go straight up.
Okay, you're good. Okay. Now there's a star apple here.
Now there's that Ponderosa lemon.
In the middle, there's a Ponderosa lemon.
Which is getting buried, and I'm perfectly happy with the berry because I was going to yank it out anyway because it doesn't have any fruit that's worth eating.
And again, an example, when you plant too close, you got your avocado here.
This was intentional.
Okay, but still, if somebody did this purposely, it's going to be an issue.
Oh, yeah, no. My theory was to enjoy the fruit for a few years and then thin stuff out. And also to see what's going to do well. Now, this thing was twice the size of the Maria Black, and I didn't know whether this thing is going to take off like crazy and bury my avocado. As it turns out, the avocado and the Caimito are going to bury this one.
But from this experiment here, if somebody didn't have the idea to take this out eventually and to leave it in, you would advise.
Oh yeah, it would be. Everything is too close.
Okay.
You have to plan on over planning because you'll see you don't know what's going to die.
Sure.
You know, you put everything in and you assume everything's going to live. And you can have it 20 feet apart, and 3 years later, one of the trees dies. And now you got a 40-foot gap with nothing there, and wasted 3 years.
Exactly.
So I'd rather go the other way, overplant and cut back.
I like that. Okay, there's a Comito, and that's doing
Right,
great.
this one's finally taken off a little bit nicer.
Looks very nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is the green Comito. It seems to do a little better than the purple one down here.
Okay.
I also have, I'll show you on the other side, the Hippolito, which is the new one from Laura Farms. That's just a regular common banana, a black sapote, which I would not recommend. That's one of these trees that may be on the future list.
Now, why?
I don't care for the fruit, and it's not very productive. So that's 2 big strikes.
Did you get a seedling or
This is a grafted variety.
A grafted variety, because in general, they are very productive in general.
In general, they should be.
And as for the fruit, it's not the ideal, but it's the only thing that you get in the winter, one of the only ones.
I know, but if you don't really care for it, it doesn't matter.
There you go. There you go.
And it would not terribly productive.
But it is in a nice spot in the corner here.
It's in a spot where I don't care because it's going to grow tall, and it's my northernmost part of the yard, and so it's going to be just not
but
blocking
you can
anybody.
use this spot for something else too. If you
I could, but I still have a lot of space.
Okay, so there's a good jujube.
Indian jujube.
How's that been?
Okay. Not as productive as I would like. It has enough space.
What do you got here?
This is a lemon Cattleya guava, which is very productive and makes good fruit. And it has fruit on it now, as you can see, that are ripening up all over it.
Yep.
I don't have a problem with worms on them.
Good.
Some people do.
All right.
Some longevity spinach. This is one of my seedling loquats.
Okay. Got some red hibiscus here.
Yeah, the cranberry hibiscus, I use it as a chop and drop.
Got it.
I think it's prettier than the Mexican sunflower.
Sure.
It does the same thing. Then we got a sweetheart lychee.
Sweetheart lychee. Now this is one
that gets the erythnos mite.
That gets the mite, and even though it's I believe it's a smaller lychee tree, but it's still probably going to be one of the biggest.
It's going to be a big tree, but you'll see this. It has room to grow this way. Has plenty of space this direction, so it's not going to be crowded out.
Okay.
It has room for it to grow.
Got you.
As you can see, I got a ton of pineapples coming up everywhere. This one looks like it's ready to go. Yeah, that's how I pick them, like this. Really, really ripe. They're super sweet.
Wow.
Like sugar.
How long did it take to grow that?
About a year.
Okay.
And I'll show you. I have my nursery in the back where I'm growing stuff when we get to that. It's a red hybrids. Angiopodocarpus.
Okay.
These are reds. That's a black Suriname cherry from Zill.
Okay.
I don't know if you've eaten much Suriname cherry. Most of them taste like garbage, but the black Zill one is good. Has a nice sweet flavor, and it doesn't have that peppery taste. Another red. Here we go.
What's that?
That's Ooh La La.
Ooh La La.
Super Haas.
Super Haas avocado.
And I have not had a problem with uneven ripening. It has some fruit on it now.
Oh,
Here's one right here.
That's the one I took out because of the uneven
on yours you had problems with the ripening.
Okay, so we have.
I have not had a problem with it yet. Problem with ripening.
Okay.
Again, it's even though we're close, you're 10B, I'm 10A zone, it's a totally different microclimate.
Sure.
I'm a month, behind you.
Yes.
So here's the sapodilla. This is Silas wood, and it's got a lot of fruit. It's very productive. It's pushing them out like crazy. I'm not a big sapodilla fan. They're kind of too sweet for me. It's like pure sugar. I could eat maybe a half of one. I guess if you're making shakes or whatever, well, you have some other way of preserving it, or you'll have a real sugar tooth. Anyway, that's a sugar apple. Oro Negro avocado. This one's only in the ground about a year.
Excellent, excellent. Very close.
Very, very close. But the sugar apple, the reason I didn't worry about it is I have so many sugar apples all over the place, and that's just a seedling, that if it starts to get too competitive, I'll just take the sugar apple out.
Okay.
Not a problem. And then you see there's plenty of space. It's just the pineapple. There's no root problem there.
Okay.
And this is a Sabara Japoticaba, which is
Okay.
very, very slow growing.
Now, the Japoticadas, they grow really well in pots.
You can keep them in pots. I have some in pots. I'll show you. I have a whole bunch
So
of
real estate-wise, if somebody has a yard and you don't have as much space as Jerry, I do recommend keeping
Absolutely
those in
keep them in
pots.
pots.
Yeah.
You can keep these forever, like in a 25-gallon.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, at least 7 years in a 7-gallon. But of course, you're going to get more fruit in if you have it in the ground.
Oh.
And if you're lazy, you don't have to water it. Once it's in the ground, I'm from my nickname would be the Ron Popeil of tropical fruit trees, because I'm a set it and forget it kind of guy. I don't want to be having to mess with too much stuff. Minimal. I mean, some stuff you have to do. So you know what I mean? Like in theory, if I wanted, I could put out all these low branches because they're not going to be, be able to bear fruit and all that. I have a different philosophy. One, I don't want to do the work. But two, even though the leaves aren't going to produce fruit, they're absorbing sunlight. They're absorbing energy. They're making energy for the tree. The fruit will come up here, and it'll feed the roots. So it's not in the way of anything. Leave it. It may not be cosmetic. It may not be the correct, orchard management technique, but I enjoy it. This is a rare one. I'm really looking forward to getting some fruit out of that. It's a Santal. It's Ella Santal. I don't know if you've seen any.
Yes, I have. It's big, actually. Yours is a good size.
It's slow growing. This is one of my earlier trees that I put in the ground, and this is about 4.5 years in the ground from a 3-gallon. But it's the first year it sat and did nothing. It was in total hibernation. And then the last year it started to really accelerate the growth.
Well, come here. We got a papaya here.
Yeah, I have papayas all over the place. Most of them are volunteers. That's another loquat variety.
Loquat, and then in the end there?
In the end is the Superior Lemon Drop Mangosteen.
Okay.
That's Braziliensis.
Very nice. And he just puts a
Very
little
nice
mulch
one.
here.
This makes the one that has a little,
So it
like a nipple on the end of the fruit.
Yeah.
And a little bit larger fruit than the regular lemon drop mangosteen.
Now you got a mango here that's new.
I have some new ones that I just put in. Like I just picked this up at the last show. So I'm still squeezing
What is
stuff
that?
in. This one is a Keo Savoy,
Kia Savoy, okay.
which is an Indian mango, a little on the spicier side. And this one, I listened to your advice about not putting mangoes that are too attractive next to a neighbor or by the yard. So this one that stays green.
Yeah, yeah.
Not that I'm worried, nobody lives here next door to me. There's another one I just put in. That's M4,
Excellent.
which is like a coconut cream type flavor.
Great late season, yeah.
Yeah. Here we got a Pakistan mulberry, which I just hacked today. And a Grumi Chama. There's lots of stuff mixed in with things.
What's that over there?
That is a soursop, which I have in about 4 different places in the yard, and I've not had great results anywhere.
Well, that soursop is too close to that mango.
Oh, I'm not really worried because so far, either one of them could be, trimmed back or moved, and I don't know whether the soursop is even going to stay. Because almost all of the soursops I've had seem to have a problem with putting, first of all, they're not cold sensitive. I mean, they are cold sensitive, so they defoliate. And if you have a harsher, colder winter, which we hadn't had in the last few years, they really die back a lot. But the other thing I noticed is that they don't really set great roots. And when we have windstorms, one of the few trees that seems to fall over are all my soursops.
Exactly.
All leaning.
Same for me.
And then afterwards, they never quite recover as great. It's like this one leaned over and I tried to prop it up and then fell over again. But now it's sending up from the roots. Another one, which may be a lot better than the ones I put in.
Yeah.
So if anything, when this thing goes, or if it's getting too close, I'll chop this tree off and just leave this one so it'll be less competitive.
Okay.
And give it some more time.
Okay, what about here?
That is a pomegranate.
Okay, what
That's
kind?
the Vietnamese variety.
Oh, wonderful. That's a good one.
And it makes some fruit. There's one on it right now.
So some fruit, I mean...
Yeah, not very productive. If you're
Not
looking to
very
grow food to eat, scratch this off the list.
Okay.
It's an ornamental. I like it because it's an interesting shaped leaf and plant. It's more of a bush.
Okay, where'd you get that?
I think I got this one from Leaf.
Okay.
Leaf in West Palm.
And what's this here?
This is a mulberry.
Another mulberry, okay.
It's supposed to be a Thai white, but it ain't white, so it ain't a Thai white.
Yeah.
That's a Hirado pomelo,
Okay.
which has citrus greening and ain't doing too great. So it's only a matter of time before that's going to come out. These are some oddball bananas. It's a double Mahoy and a Brazilian. Another sugar apple, just a seedling. Same thing, spacing-wise, this is a disposable tree. So, you know what I mean? If these things get too crowded, that can go. There's plenty of them. That's another longan. This one is from my back tree. It's an air layer from my tree in the backyard, which is going to have to come down because it's just too huge.
So is that why you planted 2 of them?
Yes.
Okay.
Because that's a replacement. I have another one in the back. So I still want to have, it makes wonderful fruit. The tree is just
So when this starts
enormous.
fruiting, you'll be able to take that one out and open up a lot of space.
Exactly.
Okay. And
This
what are
one will
these
take
big
over
things
for it.
here?
This is a sugar bell or a subel. I think this is called sugar bell. Let me just double check. Yeah, sugar bell. This is a variety of mandarin that's developed by a company called Brightleaf. And they just are a citrus farm. And supposedly it's on a dwarf rootstock. And it's supposed to be citrus greening rootstock and citrus greening resistant top tree. So far the leaves are looking pretty good. When I first got it, some of the older leaves looked like they had greening. See, that coloring is not healthy.
Yeah.
But it seems to the new leaves seem fine. So when they say resistant, it means it's a little sick, you know. This one is not advertised as being greening resistant, but it seems to be. This is a Miwa kumquat. And usually it has tons of fruit on it now. It has tons of fruit on them, they're just not ripe. It's like in between loads of crops. So it's got immature fruit and new flowers coming up too. So this will be back in production in a week or so.
All right, so that's one corner of his yard here with more of newer stuff that's growing, smaller stuff that will eventually get bigger. But now we're going to go to his other side of his yard. And he has all these big giant coconut and palm trees and pine trees in the middle of everything. But they're so high, they're not blocking the sun too much. You never get coconuts from trees that high, right? Or
I get coconuts every day.
they fall off?
They fall off all over the yard. I just clean them up every day, about a dozen a day.
Wow.
An average of 1 per tree.
Wow, so now we're going to look at this side, and this side's really filled in since I came here last. We're going to see this. Oh, what's this? Is this a fruit?
This is technically a fruit, and if you're brave enough, you could probably taste some. I think some of it's ripening now.
What's the name of it?
This is screw pine, Pandan pandanus.
I've heard
It's not
about it.
really edible. It tastes like pineapple juice soaked pine wood. I mean, it's the wood itself. If you suck on it, pieces of the. I'll show you when we get around to the side.
Okay.
We'll get some ripe one. That it has a taste to it. I guess you could probably soak it, extract it. It's starvation food.
Okay.
Let's just put it that way. That's a Trompo Canistel,
Trompo Canistel.
a Ross Sapote.
Rosa Pote. This is your Canistel area.
I have them in the back too. I have a lot of stuff doubled in the front and in the back because they're 2 different environments.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And the trees grow differently in the front and the back. And when I put it in, I knew enough that it really depends on where you put the tree. So if I had more than one, I put one in the front, one in the back in different areas. A little drier, a little wetter, a little higher, a little lower.
You got
A
it.
little sunnier, a little shadier.
Terrible smelling.
Noni fruit.
Noni fruit.
It's a medicine fruit.
Terrible.
This one's ready. Boy, is that one ready.
Oh, you can have it.
If you got to be a masochist to eat it.
Yeah. What's this here?
So this side over here is a overgrowing cinnamon tree.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I sometimes take some of the leaves. Actual cinnamon is made from the bark. There we go. We gave it a little freedom here. Actual cinnamon is made from the bark, but the leaves have a close enough taste to it that you can just throw them into, you know, a cup of hot tea and get like a cinnamon tea.
Oh, nice.
A novelty. Man, do these vines grow fast. I know you don't like vines, but these are not just regular vines. These are grapevines.
Yeah, well, they're vines, and I don't
And
want
there's
vines.
grapes on them.
Yeah, well,
So they're earning their keep. I'll show you when we get down a little closer. These I just put in a few months ago. Same thing, baby trees.
what's that?
This one is a not a cocktail. I'm sorry. It's a, I keep forgetting. Choquette.
Avocado, okay.
Choquette avocado.
Okay.
Not a great avocado taste-wise, but productive and grows well down here. I got that from Lazy Lizard.
Yeah, so if you know it doesn't taste great, why'd you plant it?
To give them away.
Okay,
And I can graft onto it also. The tree does well.
okay,
I have over 12 varieties of name varieties plus some seedlings. So
okay.
someone may like them.
Another sugar apple?
Everybody, yeah, another sugar apple. I got them all over the place. These are seedlings from my Nidai that I got from Leaf. And I even threw some seeds in here and they're popping up on their own.
Nice.
And they'll grow. I'll let them go. And if you look on this crazy vine here, and you see what's going on here, this is what I'm growing.
Muscadines. Very nice. Muscadine grapes.
I don't know if this one's ripe yet. We'll find out in a second.
Yeah, I had some of these, but the vines took over.
They're ripe and they're delicious.
Oh, yeah.
Unbelievably good, right?
Oh, yeah.
And when I talk about set it and forget it, this is just a fence. I planted it, I set it, I forget it. I don't feed it, I don't water it, I don't prune it, I don't do nothing. I just come and grab the grapes.
Look at it all over. Just take it off. And you do have to be careful if you plant trees too close, because they will.
Oh, you see a vine. But it's not that big a deal to pull the vines off.
Yeah. So what tree is that?
That's a Monroe avocado.
Monroe, okay. Choquette and Monroe. Very similar avocados. Okay.
Very similar.
Okay.
Black raspberry.
Black raspberry and a banana here as well.
And this, same thing, grows wild over here and it's spreading itself.
Now remind us, how much land do you have here?
1.3 acres.
1.3 acres.
So this is really more high density food forest. That's more like a collection. This is more of a food forest in the traditional food forest sense where you cover everything. So this is some lemongrass growing. This is a medicinal plant called cathedral bells. It's supposed to be good for blood pressure, I think, and sugar. I'm not really sure. And of course, the main ground cover is longevity spinach. And that saves me from having to weed or water because it keeps the moisture in. And if you like it, you can put it in smoothies, spinach, eat it raw, you can cook it. You probably grow some or eat some of it.
Well, what tree is this here?
That is a Catalina avocado,
Oh, excellent.
which is a very nice variety, has not been very productive, but it's in a bad spot. It's just way too much shade here. It needs a little more sun. I got to open it up a little bit to get better production out of it. This is a Fwang Tung. Fwang
Yeah,
Tung.
these are big.
Have you tried
soft
Fwang
fruit.
Tung?
They're just not as dark as the.
No, it's a different
cherry.
variety. It's
I
not
know,
supposed to get dark.
I know, but these are very sweet, very big.
Have you tried these?
Yeah, they're excellent.
Far better tasting than the ones I have in the back on
have a
my
ripe
huge
one
tree.
now?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, so remember that, folks. When you get this, they stay this color, but they're ripe. Whereas if you had a cherry
This one's
tree-
probably even better.
Yeah, I'll trade you out here.
Yeah.
Yeah, just excellent, excellent. And I like these too because the edges
They have
are
less
not the same.
oxalate
Yeah, very nice.
in the edges, so I don't need to trim them as much. You know about oxalates
Yep.
and stuff. So this is no issue with these. A nice one.
Very nice.
Isn't that good? Wonderful, wonderful tree. Here's a volunteer. I would never have planted it in that spot. This is why I'm saying, well, I sometimes let trees do their own
Now,
thing.
what's that
because
big tree behind it, though?
that behind it is a peach cobbler,
Wow, how'd that
which
do this year?
until this year I didn't really care for the fruit. It made a lot of fruit, and the first year I had it. This is like the third year fruiting already. The first year I said, "Man, these fruit are terrible. They're so sweet. I can't eat them. Like rotten. I mean, they were terrible." The next year they didn't have much fruit, and this year they were amazing, absolutely amazing.
Well,
It was
looks
just
like
the
it's
right
gonna
amount.
break The tree.
It was loaded.
Now, do you prune your trees like that
Nothing.
big?
No.
Nothing. So you don't plan on pruning that?
No, I have no plan on pruning it. I have a large, tall picker, and Again, I have, you'll see how many trees I have. I get so much fruit that I have no need to get more.
Okay.
And I don't care if the birds and the squirrels and the raccoons and, you know, feast on the ones on the top. They'll leave me enough. More than enough. Here's another one that's getting squashed. I don't care, I planted a few more and I'm doing some cuttings on this. So I'll plant more. This is just a Myers lemon. Very common, easily getting another one. So if it gets a little overdone, it's no great loss. This is a seedling. This is one of my selections. Now, I have a crazy approach to doing the seedlings. I select them based on the vigor of the seedling, not on the taste of the fruit, because I don't have the luxury of waiting 5 years to taste the fruit. But I do know I don't want to put a sickly looking tree in there that's not going to do well. So I look for a tree that has healthy leaves, that are disease resistant, that can harden off in the sun, that will naturally branch. And if you look at this, I've done nothing other than clear the area around it.
What's it a seedling of?
It's a seedling from whatever fell from one of these. So it's probably a seedling from this tree. You know, probably a peach cobbler. Although it may not be, because the leaves look a little different.
Yeah.
I don't know, but if you notice how the tree is growing, I could not have grafted this better and pruned it better. This kind of the way it's branching and sticking out the light.
Yeah.
The tree's doing its own thing. And doing better than I would. So I'm leaving it there.
And then you have a star apple right there.
Yeah, that's the Hippolyto. The new one. It's supposed to be a giant purple.
It's excellent.
You've tried it.
Oh yeah, many times. I love it.
Nice.
All right, here's another mango.
This one's
tree.
cotton candy.
Excellent. Look how tall that
Excellent,
is.
excellent mango. Just finished.
Excellent. Good.
Like a few days. Oh, look, here's one that's still left. Remember we were talking about in the shade?
Yeah.
That's sometimes the last ones of the year.
Behind it.
Perfectly right.
What variety is this?
Namdak Mai.
Look at that.
And grown completely in the shade. 2 feet apart from another tree and another one.
Well, that's not 2 feet, but how far?
Well, you know what I mean. I mean, the branches literally, until I cut them this morning, they were overlapped. I pruned some of it this morning.
So wait, what was this?
This one is a Pickering.
So you got a Pickering, you have Namdak Mai.
And another Namdak Mai. These are actually touching, you can see. Right up here.
How far apart are they though?
I don't know, what's that, about 12 feet? 10 to 12 feet? But look, I got more fruit over here. And where are the fruit left? Take a look on this side.
Well, look at this tree here. How close it is.
Who's got fruit still? You got mangoes still on your tree?
Well, you're more north than I am.
Ah, but look under here, under the complete shade.
Yeah.
In the complete shade, right between the trees, loaded with mangoes. And the same thing with this tree. Where does it still have fruit? In the complete shade where the trees are touching. Which is the exact opposite of what would be traditional, you know, orchid management, trim them, prune them, you know, you're not going to get fruit between the trees. There's the proof. Depends on your environment. Because it's so damn hot here, and the sun is so strong, and the birds and the you know, the raccoons and the squirrels and possums and all the other critters, that some of these hidden ones, look how much in most hidden spots are the survivors. And will stay on the tree longer and won't get knocked down until the tree ripens. This is
It's a big
tree
fruit
ripen.
too,
This
yeah.
is one day this will soften up.
Yeah.
It will be perfect. You can see I pruned this morning. I wasn't kidding you.
Now, you don't plan on pruning these two trees
No.
at all?
I only prune where they're touching.
Okay.
I want to be able to get through with a mower or walk through
And
them.
I would say that is,
It's way too dense.
distance-wise,
Way too dense.
distance-wise, I would say maybe 12 feet.
Yeah. And what I'm saying is, it doesn't seem to hurt the production. In fact, what it does is elongates your season. So the part of the tree that's in the perfect sun and everything else, those fruit will develop and ripen first. And the last fruit to ripen, so you're actually stretching your season out and getting more production out of the same tree, because the ones that are just standing alone and have no shade at all, the fruit are all ripe within 2 weeks. From the first one to the last one, 2 weeks the most. And these guys, it's more like 6 weeks, 8 weeks. The first ones will ripen first, and then the rest will ripen slowly. Here's another little hidden spot. I think this one's grown quite a bit since you were last
Oh,
year.
yeah. What is that?
This is a Puerto Rican avocado called Utuardo.
Oh, Tuato, yes.
And look how much avocados are on it. Plenty of avocados
that
left,
the
and
one
I've been eating them.
Is that the one that's supposed to be the dwarf one, or no?
Don't look too dwarf to me.
Yeah, no, it looks pretty big.
It was supposed to be, but it
And how
doesn't
is it?
advertise
It's
it. What was that?
How are the avocados?
Very good.
Very good, Utuado.
And you see, even though you look at what I'm saying, but you can't go by what. Here's the original tag, and it says it's supposed to be December to February.
Yeah,
And look where they're on now.
yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. You got to see it for yourself. Here's what happens if you leave some fruits on too long and you don't get all your squirrels. Look at this guy.
What kind of tree is that?
I was saving this one for me because that one's orange. Sweet tart.
Sweet tart. Okay.
It's actually overripe, which is why they got it. I was waiting for it, and I missed it because I look at the other side and it's overripe. Did not ripen evenly. This is the first time it's fruited. It's a baby tree. So I got some more of the grapevines growing. Seminole pumpkin kind of takes over. Yeah, a few things here. Just a Pakistani mulberry and a vanilla bean. Now we'll go into the side yard. You can see this part here has pretty high density.
There's a fruit on the floor there.
Oh, there's fruits everywhere.
Okay. So,
Those are Seminole pumpkins. They're growing there.
okay. So now these two trees are interesting because where were the two that you planted at the same time and you left a fruit on one of them, you said? And
Those are the ones in the front, the Namdak Mais.
okay.
Which one?
But they caught up to each other.
Not yet.
Okay, so
The smaller one is still smaller and not as productive as the other one.
And the
the
other one you
smaller
took
one's
them-
actually in a better location.
the other one you took off the fruit when they were younger.
The one I took off, we stunted the tree for sure, which
Okay.
sometimes is a good thing.
No,
Depending if
taking
you're going
off
to plant them that dense, it's not a
taking off
problem.
the fruit, keeping the fruit on stunted it.
Keeping the fruit on stunted it.
Yes. Okay, so what do we got here where we're at?
This is a pickering,
Okay.
which I've never pruned. It's in the ground 4.5 years. Very productive, good fruit.
Now, how far is this?
I don't really measure it, but they're probably about, I don't know, what does it look like to you? Maybe about 12 feet?
12 feet. Okay.
If I had to guess.
What is that?
This over here is Harvest Moon,
Okay. Now this one.
and that's Graham,
Oh, that's
or
Graham.
Graham, depends on how you
You like
pronounce it.
Graham? They're good.
That's Graham, yes.
That's
Graham produces the most productive seedlings I've ever seen. Those fruit fall on the ground here, I'll show you in my nursery. I just dig them up off the ground because like a seed falls on the ground, it doesn't even need to go in the dirt. It sprouts.
Yeah.
Even just the mango sitting on the ground with no dirt on it, it sprouts from that tree. So I use them to start seedlings.
And that one is the Harvest Moon.
This is Harvest Moon, so-so. It makes very large fruit
Yeah.
that are tasty, but not as many fruit on the tree as I would like.
Okay.
Not that it matters really, but you know. This is Orange Essence,
Orange
also
Essence?
known as Triple Sec.
No, it's not. Orange Essence
I'm sorry, Triple Sec or
Seacrest.
Seacrest.
Okay. Very nice.
Thank you.
Very good fruit.
Very, very tasty fruit, but the tree is like Valencia Pride. It's one of those giant trees that just wants to grow crazy.
Yeah.
And so if you have a lot of space or, you know, you don't mind a crazy tree, I would not have put it in this spot because I don't want to do a lot of pruning. And this just, forget it. It just takes over like crazy. But the fruit are big and delicious and it's productive.
And what's this here?
Look what's on the floor. It fell off one of my vines.
Oh, passion fruit.
Passion fruit.
Very nice.
That's what I do. I walk around and collect fruit. I mean,
What is this here?
this one here is fruit punch. I'm sorry, fruit cocktail, not fruit
Cocktail.
punch. Which is totally different than fruit punch.
How do you like it?
Again, the first year's fruit aren't that great.
Yeah, I love this. This is wonderful.
Yeah, but I think I only had a few fruit off this year, and they weren't really ripened well. I picked them too early, and then they sat like for a week and a half, and then I ate them, and they were, you know, it's hard to tell from the first year. Very hard to tell. I'm hoping it's going to be good. It got great reviews and great ratings.
It's excellent.
Again, sometimes the first year or two, or one season they're great, and next year they're not, and the next year again they're wonderful again. These are my Atamoyas.
All right, a bunch of Atamoyas here.
And in terms of space, they take up a lot of space, and they're not terribly productive, but there's nothing like them taste-wise. They're really exotic stuff. So if you like the oddball stuff, like I do, that's Elisa. I don't hand pollinate, which is why they ain't looking that great. That one. There's African Pride, Pet Pak Chung, and Priestley. But I'll show you more productive Annona families. Again, I got these growing all over the place. They just take over. There's Seminole pumpkins. Another sugar apple, a Nadai. This one looks nice.
Very nice.
Coming in good. That's seedlings from my trees. Another mulberry. Some papaya popping up, uninvited. This is the last name variety of loquat that I added. That's what do you call it? The Big Jim.
Big Jim.
And it's a big tree and a big fruit. You know, and a large seed. Of all of them, I think there's another one called Palucci, which is supposed to be even larger, but this is about the biggest one.
Those trees look like they're 15 feet apart.
Yeah, they're pretty close. But loquats generally tend to grow more upright, and they don't seem to be encroaching too much on each other. Even though these two are pretty big, doesn't seem to be a conflict that I've noticed. And talk about weirdness. That one's flowering right now.
Yeah. That's good weirdness.
Yeah, so that will be fruit by December, or even sooner. And it shouldn't be. This is what I'm saying, you know, when you have your own microclimate here, this is that experimental jackfruit from Excalibur. And look at the size of the fruit on it this year.
What's it called?
This is a red variety. That when I got it, it didn't have a name yet. This was a variety he was growing to keep in-house, and he wasn't going to release it. He only had like, 100 trees or so. And, I pested and pested and pested them.
Is that the first time it got fruit?
No, it had fruit last year.
How'd it taste?
And the first one, it's like I had no idea, because I'm new at doing jackfruit, of when to pick them. It's not easy to pick these things the right way. So the first one I picked underripe. And it was like so hard to peel and to open it up. It was like a workout.
Yeah.
This thing was really a struggle. If anyone's ever tried to open one of these things that aren't ripe yet, you know what I mean. And so I figured I'd wait the other one another day or two. And it landed up, it was like 4 or 5 days later, and it fell off the tree. So that one was overripe. And, parts of it were good. And they both tasted a little bit different. I liked them. But, and the fruit were lower on the tree last year, and were actually laying on the ground, and about half that size. So this year the tree got smart, and it made it up a little bit higher, and gave the tree some room, and now the fruit even bigger.
Nice.
I have no idea how big they're going to get, because they're still growing, they're not ripe. But that's the fun of it, it's the adventure. Look how fast this tree is growing. You see this 2x4 that's in there?
Yeah.
Last year, we had one of our winter storms, the heavy winds, and the whole tree fell over and was leaning on this fence. So I figured I got to do something. I don't want it, falling on my neighbor's fence. It's his fence, and he loves his fence. So I propped it up, and rather than putting all these stakes and tying 3 things in there, I just took a 2x4, and I jammed it in, with a sledgehammer, just enough to wedge the root to get it to lean. So again, it's like I don't like to prop stuff up. So this was me a little more minimalist than putting 3 metal poles in there and wires and ropes and everything else. So the tree is still supporting itself. It's just getting a little leaning help. And I could actually take the 2x4 out now, because the roots have,
Sure.
done their thing already. Here we go. That's the orange essence.
Okay.
New tree hasn't fruited yet. Not a great spot. Doesn't get a lot of sun here, but Pakistan mulberry, another sugar apple. This is Angie. Angie's another one of the Zoll varieties. It's a daughter of Carrie. This one's Carrie.
Okay.
Kind of a West Indian type flavor. A little bit on the spicier side. This has got to be one of the weirdest trees in my yard. And I say weird is because it's very unpredictable. One year it had just male flowers. I had to cut off all of the stems and then it reflowered and had fruit. The next year it's got mixed blooms. It's got flowers pushing, it's got fruit developing, it's got new growth forming, and as you can see even now, at this time of year it shouldn't be pushing all of this new growth. But it is, and it wouldn't surprise me if it doesn't flower again and stop making fruit again. Because that's what it's done in the past.
What about that one behind it?
That's Coggeshall.
Okay.
This is a true dwarf. This is in the ground 5 years, and you can see they're close, but I knew this tree is going to stay very small. And there's nothing in front of it. So it's got room to grow this way. So, you know, if I need to hack this back a little bit to give this a little more light, it's not an issue. So far I haven't had to. It had fruit on it. It weren't bad. You know, all things considered for a first year.
Alrighty. And
so this is my orchard area. I call it the orchard because it's kind of, you know, everything's in rows and it's neat. And I like it because it's one of the few spaces on my property where you can get a straight line through from the front all the way to the back. So if I take one of my bows out, I can set up an archery track, you know, course out here, and you can see I was getting ready to do some pruning. This just shows you how crazy these things get.
Yeah,
that's a Pakistan mulberry. This is 1 year's growth.
Wow.
1 year.
Yeah, they get big.
And it's not so much because it'll be a pain in the ass to pick the fruit when it's that tall. It's more productive if you chop it, because the mulberries seem to grow on the newer branches. So that's going to get whacked back today if I get a chance, or tomorrow.
All right, now we're entering your backyard.
Yeah, so that's kind of like the formal orchard area.
Is this a fruit tree or an ornament?
This is Clusia, C-L-U-S-S-I-A.
Okay.
It's a.
That's not edible.
No, it's an ornamental. It's usually used just as a fencing, as a break, privacy screening, whatever you want to call it. Okay. See, I got the passion fruit growing wherever you don't have a fence. It's either grapevines or passion fruit. So this space is all producing food. It's another Pakistan mulberry. I have a lot of different kind of bananas, although they may look similar. We walked right past it, I didn't mention that one. I don't want to walk your feet off, you'll get a good workout. This is a good tree because I recommend this one to people all the time. That's Dwarf Namwa. Wonderful, wonderful variety of bananas. And you can see why I like them, because the trees stay manageable size-wise. And the fruit always seems to be at a height that you can get to it without too much problem. Produces a lot of bunches, produces by itself, doesn't need to be watered. There's nothing on there, just chop and drop some of the dead leaves. There's a bunch there. Yep, that's at the moment, there's just that one. But there'll be more coming along.
Yeah.
It's happening.
What's up, man?
Look, it's How's it
I was gonna surprise you with a call.
Oh, cool. Yeah. I'm here. No, yeah.
I beat you to it. I figured you. The boys are in town.
All right, all right. All right, so now we're going back into his backyard.
Yep. So that was the Namwa bananas. Then we have Pisang Raja and Rajapuri. These are Indian varieties of bananas. They get huge.
And a bunch of
Different
more mulberries
tasting.
here.
More mulberries. As you can see, anywhere I stuck them in the ground, and they're planted close because I don't care. When they get too crowded, I just cut them out. I got them all over the place. And you just stick a branch in the ground, and you got another one. So in the meantime, I'll get some fruit and enjoy it. Here's one stuck in the middle of nowhere. And again, this was intentional. I found that a lot of my avocados, the young ones, if they don't have some shade when they're young, they're going to get all burnt up and they don't grow as well. You see how nice and healthy this one's in?
What is it?
This is a Russell avocado.
Okay.
And it's doing so well because it's got all the shade. And the moisture stays in from the banana roots. So this area stays damp and shady and cool. And the avocado seems to enjoy it. You know, when it gets bigger, I thin out the bananas. They grow like weeds. So the slower growing stuff, I put in even in a tight space because as it grows, if you want it, you choose which one you want more and you cut the other one out. See, you were asking about Japoticabas in the pots.
Yeah.
I have some in the ground and some in pots. These are all red hybrids.
Okay. And they normally like a lot of water, so you're not watering them?
Yeah, they don't want anything now.
Not the one in the pots either,
Nope.
no water?
I don't need to yet.
Okay.
Because it's a big enough pot. See, that's the key with the pots. Don't put them in a 3-gallon pot because they will dry out. These are big enough pot that you can get through a couple of days. But I'm out here, there's only along this spot with the pot, so if I keep an eye on it.
Okay.
This is how I know where I'm getting bananas. I look on the grass and I see the red stuff coming off from the petals, and then I know I got more bananas coming up. That's the telltale sign. When you see these on the floor, there they are. Those are ice cream bananas. This is a Sabra Japoticaba.
Okay.
That's in the ground almost 5 years. Slow growing. Biggest problem? The birds. The birds get them before I do.
Look at these.
There's our friend
Yeah.
Jack, who lives nearby.
What's up, guys?
And Jack has a...
That's my neighbor, Jack.
Man.
Urban Abundance.
Yes.
What's up, guys? Yeah, check it out.
Guys, if you need any help setting up your forest, setting up your food collection, setting up your garden, raised beds, this is the man to talk to. I mean, I'm a collector. I don't do this for a living. This is my hobby.
Man, you gotta go.
But if I was going to hire somebody, I needed to call somebody, here's the man.
All right, I'll put that.
Check him out. You can reach him through his
information
Facebook page, you know, under Urban Abundance.
below. Yeah, and he lives near here. So
and you
there.
can do all this at home. Jerry's just holds it down.
This is another hybrid variety of sugar apple, which is a Nadai Vietnamese variety crossed, I think, with a Thai lizard.
Tinies are.
Yeah, check this one out.
Kampong.
This is another hybrid.
Oh, wow.
So these are all new ones that have not been named. So I can be the first to name them if I'd like. This one's almost ready.
Yeah.
Look at the color. It might even be ready. It is ready.
Hey.
All right, guys. It's ready. It ain't getting any readier.
That's perfect, baby. Thank you.
Check it out. Here, bring some to the missus. Let's see how this one is. Oh my God.
Is this a seedling?
No, this is a grafted tree.
Wow.
From a leaf.
Yeah, grafted.
What's it called?
It just had cross on it. So this is, I think, a grafted cross. It just says cross on it. It doesn't really tell you what it is.
Every August.
Oh my, this is so good.
Very nice.
Let's go.
Very nice.
A little overripe, but it's wonderful. So this is kind of one of my Brazilian rainforest areas that I'm attempting to do over here. That's a Vexator, or a blue Japoticaba grape. And over here is a Grimmel Japoticaba. And we have a guava over here, which has some fruit on it, actually.
And you don't water
Somewhere.
any of these?
No.
Wow.
You see what's on there? It's a lot of wood chips and pine needles. And if you look, you see how hot and dry is it? If you go down a couple inches,
Moist.
it's moist. And the top is dry as a bone. So the trees seem to like it. This is a patamba. It makes a yellow fruit that's kind of like a cherry-sized fruit, but it tastes more like an apricot. Cross between a cherry and an apricot. Delicious. Here's a rainforest plum. Same thing. These things grow in the Brazilian rainforest. And if you look in the rainforest, everything is on top of each other. These trees are not spaced 15 feet apart. They're growing under each other, on top of each other, laying down on each other. The dead trees falling over on top of them. And that's how they thrive. So if that thing was 15 feet apart, it'd probably be dried out in the sun. And now it's thriving because it's got all its buddies next to it. Here we go. Here's another Grumichama. And not too far away from it is Abiyu.
Nice. Did you get fruit off that one yet?
Not yet, and I am really looking forward to it. I am really looking forward to it. The tree is doing great, though. Not yet.
Very nice.
In its own time. It'll get there.
And what is this here?
This is Savannah cherry.
Savannah cherry?
Yeah, another Brazilian rainforest tree. This is a Caimito.
Nice.
That's a purple Caimito.
Purple Caimito.
Which doesn't do as well as the one in the front yard. It's a different variety, but who knew? Well, we're on this road. We may as well just go up the road and down. So some more mulberries, and you can see I got a lot of Japoticabas. Some of them in the ground, and some of my insurance in the pots. So if one goes, the other will survive.
This one's blowing up.
Yeah, I just got this recently from Zane's World. This over here is Achacharu, or Achacha, some people call it. Not yet, you know, it's a young tree, just put in the ground a few months ago. Another Jabo. San Pablo custard apple.
Excellent. Nice.
Doing very, very well. It's young, hasn't fruited yet.
Lizard was on me.
You know, but the tree is happy. That's all I'm worried about. The fruit will come when it's ready. Doing nicely? Yeah.
What's that one?
Here we go. Let's see if they have a variety on it. This is a Rollinia. It's a Rollinia deliciosa.
Nice.
Or Rollinia mucosa, I think they call it also.
They call it Biriba, I think.
No, that's a different. The Biriba is it's like the starfruit family. It's the one that's like oval shaped. There's another Pakistan mulberry. Here's some new guys. This is a Magana sapote they just put in the ground.
Nice.
It's from the last plant show, tropical fruit show at the garden.
And what is that?
That is a cashew nut.
Okay.
Or cashew apple, where you can eat the fruit and the nut. So this is the same thing. I just put it in the ground. It's in the ground about 6 months. Didn't do much, but it's sending out all new growth. So it's finally happy. That's how you know. After a few months, it starts to send new growth.
Tell us about this little tree here.
This giant monster. Let's walk into it because that's the most fun way to see this tree. This is a Carrie starfruit.
Carrie starfruit. Look at that.
Which is the most productive tree that I've ever seen in terms of starfruit. Look at this thing. You want to try a taste test for comparison. The other one was best when they were like this whitish color. That's at its prime.
Nice
like
yellow.
Yep. But you see the little tiny green rib? That has the oxalate in it. If you only eat 1 or 2, it's not a problem. But if you're going to be juicing 20 of them, which I do sometimes, I trim off the
overripe.
Too dark. So pick one that's a little.
Yeah, I have a tree. It's amazing. It's amazing.
That one was too ripe.
Yeah, it's amazing.
You have to, you pick the color for you. For one person, it may not be overripe. They really like the extra sweetness, and for someone else, wants them a little tartar.
Does this fruit every year at the same time as the other stuff fruit?
This fruit's 8 months a year.
What about the other one?
3 or 4 months a year.
Okay.
Just starting.
How many pounds of fruit do you think is on here?
Look at the ground. I'd say probably right now, 200 pounds, easy. Easy. They're heavy fruits because it's mostly water.
Yeah.
So if you look at it, just look at these branches here. Look at the production on that.
Wow.
It really is kind of mind-boggling amount of production of fruit. And it's still flowering, and it's still sending up mores.
Jerry, do you prune your trees?
Not much. Minimal. Minimal.
Oh, what's that one there before we get to this one?
Which one?
Straight ahead.
This guy over here?
Yeah.
Another sugar apple.
Okay. Now what's this here?
That's a rose apple. We missed that one.
Oh, we got a rose apple.
That's a rose apple, which is related to like a wax jambu.
Yeah.
A very nice, moist, watery fruit. This giant here.
Oh, we'll skip this one here.
Oh, this is a sapote, a Mamey sapote. The exact variety, I don't know.
When I first came here, you said it hasn't fruited yet.
Right, and that's when you had suggested I trim back some of this tree, and so I cut back some of the branches that I could reach to open it up for some more light. And even though most of the tree is still in the shade, some of it's in the sun, and that was enough for it to push fruit.
Nice. Now, does every side of it get fruit or just the side in the sun?
No. The same thing. It fruits in the shade and in the sun.
What kind of mamey is this?
I believe it's a Mamey sapote, but I don't know the variety.
Okay.
This was here when I bought the place.
And that's your humongous longan, right?
This is my Kohala longan, which makes great fruit and kind of weird with the seasons on it.
Really?
It's not really alternate bearing. It had fruit this year, but it was a very small crop.
Yeah, okay.
And mostly on the top of the tree.
And it's done now?
And it's done now.
Really?
I just finished the last of them.
Okay.
About a week ago.
Years. You had prolific years.
I had years where I had 200 pounds of fruit of longan on the ground without even touching the tree.
Mangoes back there, and then
I got all kinds of stuff growing everywhere.
It's taking a lot of space.
I have a lot of yard. This tree is taking up an enormous amount of space.
Yeah.
But you'll see it hasn't been a kind of urgency yet because I still got a lot of space.
Oh, yeah.
Infinite trees, Paul. How the hell do we do it when there's infinite trees?
Yeah.
Well, you're never going to have infinite space, but you can get enough variety. So here's some more giant banana varieties.
Okay.
Which are starting to fruit now. And I got bunches up top. That's at the Pisang Raja, the ones that get like 20 feet tall. Here's a seedling of one of my selections.
Of what?
And again, I'm selecting mango seedlings. I'll show you where I grow them.
Seedling, okay.
Based on their toughness and resistance.
That's from the gram?
Probably. Okay. It looks like it. So you see here it was attacked by insects and all kinds of damage. But it's not a disease that's in the tree itself. And if you look at the new leaves, they're kind of gorgeous. So I'm happy with that one. There's another Jopodicaba. That's a Sabra. Since it stays small and grows slowly, it's perfectly fine here. It can get as big as it wants. That's one of those peanut butter trees. That's a red rocket wax jambu. It's one of the varieties from Zane that he's telling me is supposed to be fantastic. So this is a...
Well, what's this?
Amberella, or June plum.
On there, June plum, okay.
This is the dwarf one. There's two varieties, a regular one and a dwarf. This is a dwarf, it stays small. Produces a lot of fruit. I don't particularly care for the fruit, but it doesn't take up much space. And
it's pretty good.
I added to the collection.
Tell us about that one.
It's all right.
This is the Magic Jack tree.
You already ate the fruit.
I already ate the fruit. I have some frozen. We're going to taste it later.
That sounds good.
So we had last time, I think there were up to 17. A couple of them came down, and I ate a few of them already.
Is this a seedling?
This is a seedling from Jack. I bought this in Palm Beach Gardens.
Green Market.
At the Green Market. 4.5 years ago, from Jack for $8. It was 1 foot tall.
Wow.
And that's why I call it the Magic Jack tree, because it's like, you know, Jack and the Beanstalk. You put this thing in the ground and you can climb up to heaven with it.
Wow.
So this tree is less than 5 years old.
And how would you say it tastes?
Excellent.
Excellent. Wow.
I know.
Excellent.
We got
and incredibly productive.
From?
I don't.
All he told me was that it was a crisp one. That's all he knew.
And is it soft or hard?
I would say it's in between.
Okay.
I didn't think it was
You said
crispy.
It was too ripe though, maybe.
Yeah, one was more ripe, but I thought it was like right in the middle. I've had crispy ones and I've had mushy ones, and this seems to be like right in the middle. And depends on its ripeness. Some of it is crispier.
You know, I think I got it from Zane Excalibur. Somewhere,
okay.
You know.
Okay.
So that's the wax jambu.
It's around here.
I got more stuff back here. I got stuff popping up everywhere. And there's more areas I'm going to expand in. That's why I'm saying I'm worried about it, because I still got areas that aren't maxed out yet. Another mulberry. These are different varieties though. This is Shangri-La. I have a lot of Pakistan, but this is Shangri-La. Better tasting. That's some type of Thai mulberry. So this is like the wooded wild area. But even here, I just stuck a couple of plants in here. This is a good area to put your seedlings in, because it's a crappy area. And you know, you can let them grow and see how they grow out, how they do, whether you want to graft onto them or move them. But you know, it's open space. So I got a little loquat growing up there and a little mulberry. These two I just planted, and I deliberately planted in this close. And there's a reason for it. Have you been to Love Nursery?
Yes.
Did you see in his front yard?
Yes.
These are the two varieties. And he has them planted very, very close together.
What are they?
These are hog plums.
Okay.
And he told me, and I had one on the other side that never made any fruit. He says they have to be real close to each other, almost touching. The better they touch, the closer they are together, the better, happier they are.
Why?
Because they cross-pollinate.
Yeah.
And I guess the roots touch, whatever, it could be a mycorrhiza. I don't know what it is. He said, but when they're planted close together, they do great. And when they're farther apart, you don't get much crop. And I look on his front yard, and his two trees are so close together, and he's got like 20 feet around them. So they were deliberately planted right on top of each other, and they're absolutely loaded with the most delicious sweet fruit. So
there you go.
That's where they go.
Are they
All
red?
right.
One's a red, and the other's a yellow.
No.
Unfortunately, I didn't end up getting them from him at that time because he didn't have a lot of inventory, and I went there with my sister-in-law, and she bought one of them, and I wanted one of each. So we went right down the road to Jack and the Beanstalk Nursery. Is it Jack and Jill or Jack and the Beanstalk?
Jack and the Beanstalk.
Jack and the Beanstalk, Kathy Gutierrez. And she had both varieties in stock, and I picked them up from her right down the road. They're both excellent places to buy from, by the way. Love Nursery and Jack and the Beanstalk. Just finding what you want on the day that you had to be looking. So here's another, what do you call it, the canistel. I have a Trompo and an Aurea, which I think is the correct pronunciation. I've heard it pronounced a million different ways, Aurea. So here's another emergency backup longan air layer off of my tree. In case the others don't take, I can dig it up, I can move it, I can grow it here. There's another mulberry variety. It's a everbearing. And here's a Trompo canistel.
Okay.
This is one of my avocado seedlings. Again, I'm picking it based on its the health of just purely based on how it's growing and its vigor. I have no idea how it's going to taste.
Seedling itself.
That's a seedling, just a seedling. I have 12 name varieties. Something's chewing me up. Is it the ants or the mosquitoes?
Fighting too.
Mosquitoes,
It's an ant.
Yeah. We got to keep
What's that?
moving.
Another canistel?
Yeah, we do.
That's another. That is a not a canistel. This is a sapodillo.
Okay.
This is from Alex at Tropical Acres. It's from one of his large ones that makes it's either Thomas or
Or no, the Ross.
the other one he has.
Is that what you're talking about?
No, a different one.
Sapodillo.
It makes a big fruit, about this big,
Yeah.
almost as large as a Meme sapote, but it's in like the sapodilla family. I think it's called Thomas, Thomas. Alex has it. That's from Alex. Here's another one I just put in there, and it's a small space. It's a dwarf tree. Dwarf Hawaiian. And the same thing, it has enough room in here. I don't think it'll be too crowded. It'll be fine. But it has enough room behind it. This is a macadamia tree. Macadamia nut. Talk about slow growing. That's a 5-year-old tree. It's been in the ground 5 years.
I have big. Yeah, it takes time.
Very, very slow.
Big one, so.
Yeah? Of this one?
He has a mic, so we can't hear both. So
Oh.
he's talking to like no one when he's talking.
Exactly.
Here's another soursop. And you can see this one was falling over also. The same thing. I did the 2x4 again because the whole thing fell over. And this time I just tied temporarily a little bit of plastic just to temporarily give it a little support. Completely fell over. But it's sending up flowers. And it's actually fruiting now. It's flowering now. I don't know where I saw them, but...
Nice.
So I may get fruit out of it, and the whole tree may fall over. Who the hell knows? No, here's one that just dried up. It doesn't look like it took. And here's
How
a flower.
old is that?
Here, you can take a look here.
How old is it?
Check this out from here. Look. You see underneath the flowers?
Nice, nice.
Flowering. So I don't know whether that's set or it didn't set or it's going to fall off. There's another flower, another one, another one. So even though it fell over, it seems to be doing all right.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Here's a white sapote.
Do you know what kind?
I'm trying to remember which variety this is. Was this Denzler? No, this was Denzler, yeah.
Denzler, okay.
Denzler, this is the first one I got. I picked that up from Jack and the Beanstalk.
How many white sapothes do you
I
have?
have 4 varieties.
Where are the others?
Over here is another one.
Okay.
This one I would not recommend. Whoops, something
Which
fell
one
over.
is this?
Got knocked over. And this is a University of Florida. Their new variety. And it has a problem the way it's growing. It just sends out really, really long growth that gets overly weighted down. And so it just wants to grow as a bush no matter what. And I try to prune it and still.
Well, stalk it up, man.
I could if I wanted to, but I'm just going to let it do its own thing.
Okay.
But it's more of a bush variety. I never saw that in the white sapote. It just does not want to stand up. Here's another sugar apple, seedling. You see, I got them all over the place.
So many sugar
Once they get this size, they start producing. And this is only about 2.5 years. This is the hardiest variety of white sapote. This is Redlands,
Very nice.
which, as you can see, I don't have to do anything. I don't have to prune it. I don't have to stake it. It's not going to fall over. It's a nice hardy variety. Behind it is a Marcus Pumpkin avocado. Has not fruited yet. This is kind of like one of my seed hatcheries, I call it. And I just take extra seeds. I got mango seeds, jackfruit seeds, and I just kind of toss them in. And when they root, I dig them up and plant them. Here's a mango popping up. No idea what variety. It's real easy. I can just dig them up. Boom, ready to be repotted. Easier than putting one in each pot, and then you got half of them don't come up. So that's all the potting soil in there anyway. Makes it easier. So we have another pomegranate in the back, and this is the other variety. This is the Russian variety. Has not fruited yet. So we'll wait and see. Another sugar apple. The remains of a Red Thompson avocado. First year fruiting. There's still, I think, a couple of fruit on the tree. If you look real carefully, you could probably find them.
Okay.
They're not ripe yet. It's another sugar apple.
How many sugar apples you got?
Oh, at least a dozen. They're all over the place.
So you showed us 3 of the 4 white sapote. What's your 4th?
Oh, the fourth one's over here. That's Subel.
Subel, excellent. That's excellent. I have it fruited for the first year.
Yeah. I mean, it's a young tree. You can see it's a baby.
It's done now.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a baby.
Same.
This is Kwai Muck,
Oh, nice.
which is an Autocarpus. It's related to the jackfruit family. Young tree, hasn't fruited yet. We can come around this way. That's avocados Nishikawa. That's actually from Hawaii. I thought it was Japanese, but it's Hawaiian. Yeah. This is a blackberry jam tree, and it's in full fruit, as you can see. I don't have a knife on me, but if you cut this thing open, there's black raspberry jam inside, but it's like a sugar-free jam. So that's exactly what it tastes like blackberry jam. That was, there you go. Sweet and delicious. Another sugar apple. I got them popping up everywhere. That's another avocado variety. This is Simmons.
Simmons, excellent.
A nice one. That's a Fuyu persimmon.
Oh, you're only persimmon, huh?
Yeah, they don't seem to survive down here. I've had a few, but this one sat in the ground for 2 years as a stick with no leaves. And I just said, you know, this is dead. Let me just take it out. The hell with it. Let me just leave it. 2 years in the ground with no leaves. And then it came back this year with leaves.
Wow.
So I guess something to be said about not yanking out the dead stick so quickly. So here's another one of the avocados over here. And this one is Donnie.
Donnie, okay.
I think you had that one too, right?
Nope. I had it, got rid of it.
Didn't like it?
Nope.
Wasn't productive, or you just didn't care for the fruit?
Doesn't taste that great.
Watery?
Yes.
You plant the Ronnie?
So here's a Barbados cherry.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah. They look like they're ready.
They are. Very nice.
And I don't worry about picking stuff up off the ground or washing, because there's no spray, no poisons. Everything is organic here.
Really nice seeing everything, ma'am.
A lot of stuff going on.
Is that the tour?
A couple of more items, but not much more. Another seedling, which may stay or may not, depending on how well these top leaves harden off. See, they're getting a lot of sun here. If they look healthy like this when they harden off, the tree will stay. If all this new growth doesn't harden off well, the whole tree will go. I'll just say this is not meant to be. It's not vigorous. You know, this is put in at the same time as this. And no issues with this one, and that one.
Look at that difference.
We'll see. That's lemon verbena, or Wani Lama, sometimes people call it.
Okay.
Wani Lama tea. It's makes a nice lemon tea. And you can see I don't get crazy about the weeds and stuff. I got these growing all over the place. It's Biden's Alba. A, I like the pollinators, and B, I'm too lazy to pull every single weed off of 1.3 acres. I mean, it's just crazy. They grow so fast that you can just kind of manage them. It's more like management. You know, when they get ridiculous, you thin them out a little bit. Otherwise, you can spend every hour of every day just walking around pulling weeds. Here's another fig variety called LSU Purple.
How's that do out here?
It's supposed to be the only one that's nematode resistant. It ain't resisting so great. It stays alive, but it's never fruited. So as soon as I'm running low on space, and I'm saying that's a great spot.
Yeah, it is.
For a crappy tree.
For energy,
but,
yeah.
you know, when I get that wonderful tree and I need a spot, that's on the hit list. That's going to go. It's good on the sacrifice list. But for now, I don't need the spot. Leave it be. Yeah, I don't know what else. I think we pretty much got most of everything.
Well, Jerry, thanks for having us come on out again.
Always a pleasure.
All right, man. Thank you.
Thanks,
you. Jack, for joining us. All right, everybody. That was Jerry, and this is Farm in Jupiter. Always excited to come back here for updates on what's growing around the yard, and some good updates indeed. And we plan on coming back here in the future to see how these trees are going to grow in the high densities way he's growing. Remember, what he's doing that's working. And not everything he does might not please others. He has different goals than other people, definitely different than my goals in terms of what to grow, but it's working for him, and that's what's important, and you have to do what's working for you. So thank you, everybody, for watching. Put your comments and questions below. If you like this video, please subscribe. I have more videos like this, and if you have a yard you'd like me to come out and film, please contact me at the link at the email address below, so I can come on out there and film your yard as well, and we can keep a progress on it. It's great to have a record of it and everything like that, and to have it on video. Until then, everybody, thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Have a great day and keep growing.